Payback 3, what do we actually know? Payback 3. A game that fans of the series have been waiting for years. And somehow, in 2026, we're still asking the same question. When is Payback 3 actually coming out? Over the years, we've seen supposed leaks, fake trailers, fake screenshots, alleged release dates, and countless YouTube videos claiming to show the game. But how much of this is actually true? What has Apex Designs confirmed? What has James Daniels actually said? And most importantly, how close is Payback 3 to release? Today, we're going to separate the facts from the rumors and look at everything we currently know about Payback 3 as of August 2026. Let's start with the most important question. Does Payback 3 actually exist? The short answer is yes. Payback 3 isn't simply a game invented by fans. The project has been publicly discussed for years and is associated with Apex Designs and James Daniels, the developer behind the Payback series. The original Payback was released in 2001. But for most modern players, the important game is Payback 2. Released in 2012, Payback 2 became one of the most recognizable open-world action games on mobile. Cars, tanks, helicopters, planes, weapons, races, shootouts, explosions, and multiplayer. It wasn't trying to be exactly like GTA. It had its own identity. And that's why people still care about a third game more than a decade later. The problem is that Payback 3 has been in development for a very long time. And this is where the story becomes complicated. Over the years, multiple release windows have been mentioned by fans and in conversations attributed to James Daniels. But one thing has remained consistent. The game keeps taking longer than people expected. Some predictions came from fans. Some came from community discussions. And some came from people claiming to have contacted the developer directly. There is a huge difference between those things. A fan saying that Payback 3 will release next year is just a prediction. A screenshot of somebody claiming that James Daniels said something is more interesting. But neither of those things is the same as an official announcement from Apex Designs. And this distinction is extremely important. Because if you search for Payback 3 on YouTube, you can easily get the impression that the game is already almost finished. There are videos claiming to show gameplay. There are videos showing supposed screenshots. There are videos discussing new vehicles, maps, weapons, and features. Some even use titles like Payback 3 official trailer, Payback 3 full gameplay, Payback 3 release date confirmed. But the existence of a YouTube video doesn't mean that the information inside it is real. Many of these videos are fan-made. Some use footage from Payback 2. Others use footage from completely different games. Some use concept art. And others are simply speculation presented as fact. So whenever you see supposed Payback 3 gameplay, ask one simple question. Did Apex Designs publish this? If the answer is no, it shouldn't be treated as official. And this brings us to one of the biggest mysteries surrounding the game. We still don't have a proper public gameplay reveal from Apex Designs. We don't have a full official trailer showing what Payback 3 actually looks like. We don't have a complete official feature list. And we don't have an officially confirmed release date. For a game that has supposedly been in development for years, that's unusual. But there could be several reasons. Apex Designs isn't a huge AAA studio. Payback isn't developed by hundreds or thousands of people. It's a much smaller project. And creating a modern open-world game is a massive task. Especially when the developer is expected to improve almost every part of the previous game. Fans want a bigger world. Better graphics. More vehicles. More weapons. Better physics. More missions. Better multiplayer. And at the same time, they want Payback 3 to remain simple, fast, and fun. That's a difficult balance. And it may explain why development has taken so long. But then came 2025. This is when things became more interesting. In October 2025, a Payback fan reported contacting James Daniels directly about Payback 3. According to that report, Daniels said that Apex Designs was primarily focused on Payback 3 and that the game was approximately a year away. If that statement was accurate, it pointed toward a possible 2026 release. But there was an obvious problem. We've heard similar estimates before. That's why the community didn't simply assume that Payback 3 was guaranteed to release in 2026. People waited for something more concrete. Then came 2026. In March 2026, another fan reported contacting James Daniels. According to that Reddit post, Daniels said that Payback 3 could release later in 2026 or early 2027. That is one of the most interesting pieces of information we currently have. Notice the wording. Not a specific date. Not an official announcement. Not a trailer. Just a possible window. Late 2026 or early 2027. Then, in May 2026, another fan reported receiving a response from James Daniels. According to that report, the approximate time frame was still around a year. Again, this doesn't give us an exact release date. But if these reports are genuine, they suggest that the project is still moving forward. There was also another interesting report in June 2026. A fan claimed that James Daniels responded to suggestions about weapons for Payback 3. According to that report, a sniper rifle, assault rifle, and SMG were being added, with some weapons replacing existing ones. Should we treat this as 100% confirmed? No. It's still a report from a fan describing a private conversation. But if it's genuine, it's interesting because we're no longer talking only about whether Payback 3 exists. We're potentially talking about specific gameplay elements. And that could indicate that the game is further into development than the public has been able to see. But there is still one major problem. We don't know exactly what Payback 3 looks like. We don't know how large the map is. We don't know how many vehicles there are. We don't know what the final weapon selection will be. We don't know whether the game will have the same multiplayer system as Payback 2. We don't know what the story will be. And we don't know how much of the material discussed by fans is still part of the current version of the game. This is why Payback 3 discussions become so confusing. Someone takes one piece of information, combines it with another rumor, adds a fan theory, and eventually creates an imaginary version of the game that sounds completely official. But it isn't. So let's separate everything into three categories. First, what we can reasonably consider established. Payback 3 is a real project associated with Apex Designs. James Daniels is associated with its development. The project has been discussed publicly for years. And development has taken significantly longer than many fans originally expected. Second, we have information reported by fans. That includes the possible late 2026 or early 2027 release window. It also includes the reports about a year time frame and possible new weapons. These reports are interesting. But they aren't the same as an official announcement. And then there are the rumors. The giant new map. Specific cars. Specific characters. Specific missions. A completely redesigned multiplayer mode. Exact release dates. And all those supposed gameplay videos. Unless Apex Designs confirms them, they are still rumors. And Payback 3 has developed something of a mythology around it. The longer people wait, the more elaborate the rumors become. One person says the game will have a huge map. Another says it will basically be GTA on mobile. Someone else says it will have completely new physics. Someone else claims that the game will include dozens of new vehicles. Then a YouTuber puts all of those claims into one video and calls it everything confirmed about Payback 3. But most of it isn't confirmed. It's speculation. And that's one of the biggest problems with following Payback 3 in 2026. There is so much information that it's difficult to know what is real. The safest rule is simple. If Apex Designs hasn't said it publicly, don't call it confirmed. Now, let's talk about what Payback 3 could actually become. Obviously, this part is speculation. But if Apex Designs wants to build a proper sequel to Payback 2, there are some improvements that would make sense. A larger world would be one of them. Payback 2 already gives players a sandbox where they can drive, fight, and create chaos. A larger and more detailed world could take that idea much further. More vehicles would also make sense. Payback has always been heavily focused on vehicles, so fans naturally expect the third game to expand that side of the experience. Better physics would be another obvious improvement. Payback 2 has an arcade-style approach to driving and destruction. A new game could make those systems more advanced while keeping the same chaotic feeling. Weapons are another area that could be expanded. And if the reports about new weapon types are genuine, that could be one of the areas where Payback 3 goes beyond its predecessor. Multiplayer is also a major question. Payback 2 has multiplayer, and many fans consider it one of the most important parts of the game. So naturally, people expect Payback 3 to have some kind of multiplayer experience. But we don't currently have enough official information to say exactly what that system will look like. And that's a good example of the difference between expectation and confirmation. People expect multiplayer. That doesn't mean we know exactly how it will work. The same.